The security footage played on the boardroom screen, crystal clear despite being recorded 3 months ago. There was my sister-in-law, Rebecca, rifling through my late husband's desk at 2 a.m., methodically photographing documents and downloading files from his computer. As you can see, I said to the stunned board members, Rebecca's interest in the company's welfare began long before David's death. My name is Victoria Chin, and 6 weeks ago, I lost my husband David to a heart attack at age 42. Today, I was fighting to save the tech company we built together from the woman who spent years plotting to take it from us. Rebecca's perfectly composed face cracked as she watched herself on screen. The timestamp was unmistakable. 2 weeks before David's death, when she claimed to have been out of the country. This is a violation of privacy, she sputtered, looking around the boardroom for support. You can't just spy on people. Actually, I interrupted calmly. As CEO, David had every right to monitor his private office, especially after noticing suspicious access to sensitive company data. The board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Just yesterday, they'd been ready to vote me out based on Rebecca's claims that I was emotionally unstable and unfit to lead after David's death. Now they were watching indisputable evidence of her deception. I hadn't wanted to believe it at first. Rebecca was family, David's sister, my sister-in-law of 15 years. She'd been there when David and I launched our first product, working alongside us as we grew Chen Technologies from a garage startup to a $500 million company. But people change. Success changes them even more. The first red flags appeared about 2 years ago. Small things at first, Rebecca questioning David's decisions in board meetings, undermining my authority with employees, suggesting that perhaps the company had outgrown its founder's vision. She's just passionate about the business, David would say whenever I raised concerns. You know how Rebecca gets. I did know. I'd watched her ambition grow alongside our success, seeing the way she looked at David's office with barely concealed envy. But out of respect for my husband, I kept my suspicions to myself. Then David started noticing discrepancies in our project files. Confidential designs would appear altered, key details changed in ways that could compromise our patents. Customer data was being accessed at odd hours. Money was moving between accounts in patterns that made no sense. Something's not right, he told me one night, about 3 months before his death. I'm installing extra security measures. If anything happens to me, check the hidden drive in my office. I thought he was being paranoid. We were about to launch our biggest product yet, a revolutionary AI-powered security system that would put us years ahead of our competitors. Of course he was stressed. I never imagined those would be some of his last words to me. The morning they found David slumped over his desk, Rebecca was the first person I called. She arrived at the hospital in tears, hugging me tightly and promising to help however she could. Don't worry about anything, she said. I'll handle the company while you grieve. I was too shocked, too devastated to see her manipulation for what it was. Within days, she had taken control of daily operations, rescheduled board meetings, and started making personnel changes. It's what David would have wanted, she kept saying, for the company to stay strong. But then I remembered the hidden drive. Late one night, after everyone had left the office, I searched David's private workspace. Behind a loose panel, exactly where he said it would be, I found a small hard drive and a letter. My darling Victoria, it began. If you're reading this, something has happened to me. The drive contains everything I've discovered about the person trying to destroy what we built. Watch the security footage first, it will tell you everything you need to know. Hours of video showed Rebecca sneaking into the office late at night, copying files, photographing documents, even installing what appeared to be surveillance software on David's computer. But the real smoking gun was an email chain between Rebecca and our biggest competitor. She had been selling them our trade secrets for months, systematically undermining our new product's development while positioning herself to take control of the company. Once David's out of the way, she wrote in one email, it'll be easy to push Victoria aside. She's too emotional, too weak to run things without him. The board will beg me to take over. Reading those words, seeing the calculated way she had plotted against us, something inside me hardened. The grief and shock of losing David crystallized into cold determination. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering evidence, building an ironclad case. I hired private investigators to track the money she'd received for our stolen information. I documented every unauthorized access, every leaked secret, every manipulated file. Most importantly, I recorded every conversation where she pushed the board to remove me, claiming I was too distraught to lead. Victoria's not thinking clearly, she told them yesterday. The company needs strong leadership now, not emotional decisions. I hate to say it, but my brother's death has left her unfit to run things. Now, watching those same board members' faces as they absorbed the truth, I saw the moment they realized how thoroughly they'd been manipulated. This is only a fraction of the evidence, I said, stopping the video. Would you like to see the rest? Rebecca stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. This is ridiculous. You're obviously still grieving, imagining conspiracies. Sit down. I cut her off. We're not finished. Next, I'd like to show the board your correspondence with Industrial Dynamics about our new security system. The one you've been sabotaging for months. The color drained from her face as she realized just how much I knew. You're making a mistake, she hissed. You need me. You can't run this company alone. I met her gaze steadily. I'm not alone. I have David's trust, the truth, and 15 years of building this company alongside him. What do you have besides betrayal and stolen secrets? The boardroom erupted into chaos after my presentation. Board members were shouting questions, legal counsel was frantically making calls, and Rebecca sat there, her carefully constructed facade crumbling. The police are on their way, I informed her calmly. Corporate espionage is a serious crime. She laughed, but there was a desperate edge to it. You think you've won. I still have copies of everything. One phone call and all your precious trade secrets go public. Actually, a new voice spoke from the doorway. Those files have already been secured. Detective Sarah Martinez stepped into the room, followed by two uniformed officers. Rebecca Chen, we have a warrant for your arrest on charges of corporate espionage, wire fraud, and theft of trade secrets. As they led Rebecca away in handcuffs, she turned to me one last time. He was my brother, she spat. I deserve this company more than you ever did. David wasn't just my husband, I replied. He was my partner. We built this together, something you never understood. But Rebecca's arrest was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, the full scope of her betrayal became clear. She hadn't just stolen company secrets. She'd been systematically sabotaging our new security system, introducing subtle flaws that would have made it vulnerable to hacking. The damage could have been catastrophic, our head engineer explained, if these compromised systems had gone to market. But they didn't, I interrupted. And now we know exactly what to fix. The board, embarrassed by how easily they'd been manipulated, unanimously backed my leadership. Several members even offered resignations, which had declined. We needed unity now, not more upheaval. Our competitors at Industrial Dynamics, facing their own legal troubles for receiving stolen trade secrets, reached out to settle. Their CEO, Michael Harrison, seemed genuinely shocked by Rebecca's actions. We thought we were getting legitimate market intelligence, he claimed during a meeting with our lawyers. She presented herself as acting with the company's knowledge. The settlement they offered was substantial, enough to cover the delays in our product launch and then some. But I wanted something more. A public statement, I demanded, acknowledging that Chen Technology's security system is entirely our own intellectual property, uncompromised by any outside influence. Harrison agreed readily, eager to distance his company from the scandal. The press had a field day with the story. Tech hears secret plot to steal family company, read one headline. Sister-in-law's betrayal exposed by dead CEO's hidden cameras, proclaimed another. I refused all interview requests, focusing instead on getting our product back on track. The team worked around the clock to remove Rebecca's sabotage and strengthen the system's security protocols. 3 months after Rebecca's arrest, we finally launched. The product was an immediate success, our stock price soaring as orders poured in. That evening, I sat alone in David's office, my office now, looking at our wedding photo on the desk. We were so young then, so full of dreams and ideas. The company had just been a concept, sketched out on napkins during late-night planning sessions. We did it, my love, I whispered to his smiling image. We protected everything we built. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother-in-law, David's mother. She had been devastated by Rebecca's actions, unable to comprehend how her daughter could betray her own family. Saw the product launch coverage, she wrote. David would be so proud of you. You were always the strength of this family, even if Rebecca couldn't see it. As I sat there, another memory surfaced. David and I, working late one night about a year ago, discussing Rebecca's increasingly aggressive behavior. Why do you think she's so angry? I had asked. We've given her everything, a top position, generous salary, stock options. David had looked thoughtful. Because you have the one thing she can't buy or steal, my complete trust. She never understood that success isn't just about ambition. It's about integrity. He had been right. Rebecca's ambition had blinded her to the true source of our success. The trust we built with each other, our employees, and our customers. A week later, I visited Rebecca in prison. She sat across from me in her orange jumpsuit, her perfect manicure gone, her designer clothes replaced by standard issue cotton. Come to gloat? She asked bitterly. No, I replied. I came to return this. I placed her company ID badge on the table. David gave you this on your first day. He was so proud to have his sister working with us. She stared at the badge, her composure finally breaking. I worked so hard. You had everything, Rebecca. A top position in a successful company, a brother who adored you, a family that supported you. But it wasn't enough, was it? She wiped her eyes angrily. He was supposed to be grooming me for leadership. I'm his sister, his blood. But he chose you instead. He chose what was best for the company. I corrected gently, something you never understood. As I stood to leave, she called after me. The company will fail without me. You'll see. I turned back one last time. No, Rebecca. The company will thrive because of what David and I built together. Trust, integrity, and true innovation. Things you can't steal or sabotage. 6 months later, Chen Technologies had not only recovered but was stronger than ever. Our security system was revolutionizing the industry just as David had envisioned. The betrayal that could have destroyed us had instead made us more resilient. Rebecca was sentenced to 15 years for corporate espionage and fraud. The money she'd received for our trade secrets was seized, along with her company shares. She would leave prison with nothing but the consequences of her actions. Today, as I walk through our offices, I see David's legacy everywhere. In the innovative products we create, the ethical standards we maintain, and the loyal team we've built. His hidden cameras didn't just expose a betrayal, they preserved the truth about who we were and what we stood for. Sometimes protecting a legacy means facing painful truths about those we thought we could trust. David understood that. Now, thanks to his foresight, so did everyone else. The company wasn't just surviving, it was thriving, guided by the principles we'd established together. And somewhere I knew David was smiling.